Alright, I started streaming. I'm still resolving some problems, but I think I can just do that as I go here. I hope. Phew. I need a new PC. Alright. Good afternoon, people. Person. Maddie C. Okay, wow. Image. Properties. Alright. Hmm. 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 It's having some technical problems. Can't. OBS won't let me won't show me my JPEGs, which is not very awesome. Why would that be? I don't know. So I won't be doing that right now. Turn this off. Alright. Sorry everybody. I think I'm ready to start now. Alright. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and open me a Blender. And I'm not using the official 2.71 build. I didn't update to that yet. It just released a couple of days ago. I do have a development version. I think it has most of the features. Plus I have a bevy of other options for using specialized builds with different tools. I have the paint version, which I'll probably be using later when I do some texture painting, hopefully. This is going to be a long stream. I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one till I get most of this van done. I'll maybe pause after I get the modeling done or something so that people can take a break. I can take a break, but I'm going to try to get onto the UV mapping and texturing as well. Alright, I have a reference image that I will want to open so you can see what I drew a little bit earlier. Let's see, how do I want to enter that into my view? Alright, well, I guess I should start off by saying hello to everybody. I'm such a bad host. And thank you so much for helping us reach our stretch goal of 40,000. And thank you, an extra special thanks to our backers who bumped us over the 40K mark yesterday, and also to our secret backer who bumped in an extra $1,000 today, as was promised when we hit that 40,000 goal. It's pretty exciting. Happy to be reaching those goals and getting closer to adding a new team member and some of those Vita features. Would love to be able to do that stuff. I'm gonna type in my Twitters. No, I'll let the guys tweet for me. They already have, because they're the best. Alright, I'm gonna quit this. Now, so, I guess in using Blender, which is what I use for all of my art things that I do. I'm going to add a reference image, and in this case I'm going to use it, add it as an object, an empty with an image. Something that I learned recently about Blender is if you press the F6 key, it will bring up options for a lot of the commands that you do. So, one of the things that I do when I'm working is I actually work with 2 monitors, and my Blender is set up specifically to work like that, but since I'm going to be only streaming out of 1 monitor today, I'll set up my workspace so that you can see that a little bit better. I love the flexibility of Blender's interface. I can split windows, and I'm gonna add. Alright, so this here is an image view, and I can open an image here. Art source, props, vehicles. There we go. So you can see the sketches that I did today. I'm gonna go with this guy up here in the upper right hand corner. Sorry. So this is, I thought it'd be kind of funny. I'm gonna do a mashup between the A-Team van and the Winnebago from Spaceballs. I think that'll be kind of fun. And so I really should just crop it down. I'll make another one. I'll crop it down. Let's see. I'll do that here. Alright. I'll add another image. There. That's not it either. Why didn't you not save it, my friend? Oh. As I didn't actually do the thing I thought I was going to do. I love it. You guys can't tell what the hell I'm doing because I'm working in another monitor. It's very viewer friendly. I promise you. It'll get a little bit better as we go along. Not much better, but a little bit better. Yes, please. Reload image. There we go. My goodness. Alright, so now I have my reference image object selected, and I can go ahead and assign that image here, and I can scale it up. It's a cool, there's a number of different ways to add reference images in Blender here, and the other main way is to add it in the view, and it's also, I know, I like that. They both have the kind of uses. Adding it to the background is the best way, I think, for when you're just modeling in isometric views. And you can also, now it's sort of a newer feature, I guess, you can assign it to particular views. So I could select it, I could set it to only show up in the front, back, bottom, top. All views is pretty good. But since I just drew a let's see a perspective drawing of this truck. I'm going to use this reference object. Instead, I can scale it up and down too. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and merge in another vehicle for scale. So I'm going to go ahead and append, and I'll go to props, vehicles, school bus, because that one I think would be very close to the size of what I'm modeling today. Alright, and I can probably steal some bits off of the school bus as well. Alright, so let me move this out of the way. Let's see, no. Oops. Alright, I'm going to save this. Always good to save as you go. The Z Team van. Alright, I'm going to also import Mr. Z as an object so I can see him in reference to my model, and so everybody can see a character with what I'm doing. There we go. Oh, where did you go, Mr. Z? Oh, there we go. He's over here. All right. So our characters are about 5 units tall, which makes them about 5 feet. I should say they're from 5 to 6 units tall, making them 5 to 6 feet tall. And there is Mr. Z scaled up appropriately. I think I will add a couple of more lights to the scene. Make a spotlight so I can see my model a little bit better as I get going here. It's a little weird. Some of the options for different tools or objects in the game are dependent on what render you have set up. So real-time light settings you can only access some of these settings, like the variance shadow map type can only be accessed when you have the render settings set to Blender Game, which is sort of not awesome if you're not using the Blender Game Engine. They should just have a panel for real-time options, I think. And I set this to low and this to high. These are shadow map settings. Okay. I haven't been watching the window at all. The chats. Yeah, thanks, Eric. I think that the Z in the back is going to be kind of neat. It's going to be part of the what do you want to call that? The airfoil in the back. So get my butt. This is luckily for me, this vehicle has a fairly simple shape. It's not real complex. what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal the wheels off of this bus for right now, just to kind of get me going. Actually, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm going to steal off of here at some point. I'm going to steal the underside of it too. It's called kit bashing, when you repurpose objects from one model to another one. It's quite a useful technique. What in the smell? Okay. And my wheels are floating in space. Alright. Alright. Let's see, I'll make a copy of this one. So now what I did is I made an instance copy of these wheels so that when I change them, the back wheels change as well. So that's another technique for keeping the modeling going quickly. Alright, let me see. So when I was looking at the reference for this vehicle, I noticed that there is a horizontal line that cuts across the whole vehicle and divides the upper windshield part of the cockpit to the lower engine part, and it sort of also is a visual line that goes to the back. So I'm going to cut that in first and bring my windshield back and the front of the vehicle. Alright. Now these wheels are they're too big. I want them to look a little bit more sporty, because the wheels on the A-Team truck are like one of the baddest things ever. And I really kind of want to add something like that here. So what I'm doing is there's this tool in this software, this cursor right here. It's a little masked, but you can move it around and manipulate objects centered around that. So what I'm doing is scaling the wheel around that point rather than the arbitrary point, or else not arbitrary, well, rather than around the center point of the geometry, because it may not be completely symmetrical, and so I wouldn't be getting a symmetrical scale. So I'm going to also give this some depth and check it against my image a little bit. That's looking a little bit better. I'm also going to raise, let's see. Okay. So the other thing we have is this vehicle is going to have that cartoony sort of aspect that Raise the Dead objects have. Actually, I'm going to leave the sides flat because that's very reminiscent of the Winnebago. So what I'm going to do here is show you another trick. So I just split the model in half, or at least I put a dividing line down the middle. So what I'm going to do is delete this half of the model, come back into object mode here, and I'm going to go into my panels, my property panel, and add a modifier, a mirror modifier. Now what that does is I only have to model one side of the truck, and the other side will be updated in real time. And since I usually work on the left side first, I am going to move my bus over to the other side. Alright, and Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm gonna shift out this front bit a little so it gives it the curvature of the windshield. And then I'm going to start cutting in some other details like the front of the upper part of the windshield. The dividing line for the front wheel well and windshield or side window. And what I'm going to do is scale this to 0 or close to it on the y-axis here. So now I have, you can see the beginnings of the, I cut this in here and we'll make the, add the section where you can see the door starting to take shape. I'm gonna make a cut for the top of the wheel well. Let's see, I'm gonna add another dividing line along the front. Nice. Okay. I'm going to also make 2 more cuts for the rear wheel well. I don't necessarily always work this way. This model is a fairly straightforward model in a lot of ways, and so it's easy for me to kind of block a lot of this stuff in like I'm doing, which is very helpful for something like this demo. You can already see a lot of the different shapes starting to take shape. I'm going to create the wheel wells here. Alright, so you can see that. You can also see that I'm saving quite often. I save so much that it's somewhat of a reflex. Now I don't necessarily always realize that I'm saving. Sometimes the software will crash on me and I'll get a little upset, but then I'll find out that I had just saved and I didn't even realize it. So that's you kind of have to get in that mode. It's not the best thing to have to always worry about whether or not the software is going to crash, but it's part of being a digital artist, I think, is the knowledge that you may crash. Oopsie, let's see what's going on. Wrong selection. So, got the wheel wells are blocked in. I think this back one I'm going to lower down. Oh my goodness. I'm also going to hide this bus. I'm going to put it on a different layer. Where's Mr. Z at? There you are. A pity to fool. Let's bring up the back bumper a little bit. And I'm going to make a cut for the front bumper. Guess that will give us the back bumper as well. So the A-Team van actually has this really cool like scoop thing going on in the front. I'm going to add that to something to that effect. This is neat. Oops. Instead of this standard bumper, I'm going to make it a little bit more dynamic. Some of that detail we'll add later in the texture map. So the art tasks, it's an interesting balance. I do a lot of the models, and we sort of have this pipeline where I do what we call concept assets, where I'll model a sample piece, sort of a building or a car or one of the major set pieces for a level, and it will set the tone, and it will be a useful asset to use in the level, and also set the tone texturally, and yeah, the size, scale, and kind of cartoonish nature of an asset, and then Chris will take that and recreate other assets for a level based on that first sample. And Chris will do a lot of just some more simple objects too, without any of that. He'll just, or whatever, it depends. If something doesn't need to be concepted, Chris will just go and make it based on the previous work that we've done as far as setting the style and whatnot. So I just extruded out the bumper here, actually. So one thing you'll notice is that a lot of stuff happens without me clicking on any buttons or anything like that, or at least visually in the interface here, and that's because I have many hotkeys memorized in this software because I use it so much. It's just faster if you learn the hotkeys, and that's the same way with painting software as well. If you master the hotkeys, you just get much more efficient with it. So I'm going to go ahead and add that foil on the top. It's also the jet engine. I thought I would add engines that sort of look like the Winnebagos on here as well, but not the wings, because that's just, we're not going to make a flying Winnebago for our game. But yeah, jet engine, sure. Perfect. So, let's see. get rid of some of these extra edges. Oops. Let's see what happened there. Okay. So one of the things that I've noticed about beginning modelers is that they get way over their head in terms of the poly count of their model right from the get-go, and that is the surefire way to fail at making a nice model. And the way I work is, I add detail as you go, and remove detail if it's going to help you, box or block in a shape or whatever. I mean, I've just seen so many people, modeling, and they're like, I can't figure out how to get this top part smooth. I can't get it smooth. How do you get it smooth? And it's because you have like all of these polygons. It's impossible to, you just sort of slowly add in the detail as you go, so you don't have to deal with those issues. Years of training with the master, Chris. Chris wanted to know where I get my godlike art skills from and handsome looks. Well, the handsome looks comes from mentoring with Chris, and the art skills comes from hanging out with all of my art buddies, Eric and Seth, all my friends from California. All right. Let me see now. Of course, he didn't mean for me to answer that question, but he shouldn't have asked. So I'm very interested to hear about BitBash. I didn't really see all that much about it when it was happening. I saw a few tweets, but I wanted to I'm looking forward to talking to some people about that experience, because that one was a hard one to miss, That's really kind of starting to take shape here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna, let's see, build an engine. Oops. This guy is in the way. That's the difference between a reference object like this one and a reference image in the background, is this one will get in the way, and sometimes that is a pain in the butt, whereas the other one is just sits behind everything. So there again, this is this is a new feature actually. You can drag to place the 3D cursor. This is that cursor. Before you had to click, right click or left click, I forget which. So I'm going to place the cursor there, add a cube, and it adds it where the cursor is at. So oops. So the engines on the Winnebago are this sort of long. I'm going to see how I can integrate it into the foil a little bit better, but we'll see. I'm going to join it with the main piece. And you can see it's now mirrored as well. Use my bevel tool to give that rounded look. Oops, come on now. All right. Cool, cool, cool. How many people showed up to that event? I guess I don't really have a good concept of how big it ended up being. I mean, it looked pretty awesome and looked well promoted, I guess. But was it more than just the indie developers, and was there quite a bit of regular Chicagoans that came? $1,400, that's pretty good. We're going to have a ragtag studio party here at the house, and we're expecting about 1,400 people to show up. At least. This is going to be that kind of a bash. I think I have a video or something running in the background. I hear something talking. Maybe not. I'm a notorious YouTube video watcher. I always have something running in the background. Alright, let's see now. I got a door I gotta add. I'm not trying to decide where I want to hit next. I got everything blocked in nicely. I think even the shape of it is not too bad. Actually, one thing I want to do is, a lot of times I'll wait to the end to do this, but I think I'm going to add, no, I'll add it last. So what I was kind of wondering, waffling about there, is that I want to make sure to add some cartoonish proportions to curvatures and slants and slopes to the truck, but it's easier if you just leave a lot of the angles sort of at 90 degrees before you start doing that. But I'll do that at the end, where I'll add some sloping to the back and maybe some more, like the front bulges out a little bit more to give it a little bit more character. I guess I need to add these mirrors, but I think I'm going to steal those from the bus. At least use those as a basis, as I don't need to model those in particular. So let's see. So one thing that I want to do is scale this mirror to make it wider, but you can see it's on an angle here, and it's a little bit more difficult to scale things nicely when they're at an angle. So what I can do is create a new orientation for the transform. So what I'm going to do is pick normal. You can see that now I'm going to be transforming on this face, along the face. What I can do here is I can save that orientation, which I'm going to do, I think, here. Transform orientations, and I can just add a new one. And I can hit F6 and rename it to mirror. Oops, caps lock. I want to use it as after creation, and that will be good. Now, when I pick from my transform orientations, I have mirror. Well, I guess it created it twice, but whatever. And so now anything that I select now, I can transform around this orientation. So I'm going to grab the whole thing and scale it wider, because I want a big mirror. The only problem is, see, now that if I rotate the mirror, it's going to have a different orientation set, but that doesn't matter because we don't need to do any more of that. I'm going to switch back to a global orientation. So a lot of this technical stuff that won't make a lot of sense to some of you, but hopefully isn't too confusing. And cool. Now I'm going to join that to the main body. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth shade this whole thing. Alright, so now what I have to do is set up an edge split modifier. So with my object selected, I go to modifier, add edge split. What that does is we'll make hard edges. Now we can do it based on angle, and that's a quick way to go about it, and sometimes I'll use that, but not very often, because it doesn't give you a whole lot of control, but it's a good way to kind of get a good look at what your model might look like with some smoothing applied. Actually, I might leave it because the neighbor is revving their car engine. It's sort of annoying me. I'm very sensitive today. I'm actually I was a little stressed out earlier, and now the neighbor is revving their car engine, and it's annoying me. So the other thing is so I can set it to automatically create hard edges, but then I can go in as well and select edges and set them to be sharp. So now you can see there's a sharp edge right there at the top. This edge here isn't as visible because there isn't too much variation in the angle of the faces, but if you see I pull that out here, you'll see the difference. It's because of the lighting. So I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to pull this one out just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to let's see, model in the windows. So I'm going to use the inset, and I'm not liking that. So I'm going to do one at a time. Inset. Alright. So there we've got now the windows more defined, and I can push those in a tiny bit. I can set these edges to be sharp, and now I'm going to do the side window here. Awesome. Yeah, I kind of think Texas is kind of an alright place, but you've got it's like the redneck capital of the world. Well, maybe not, but it's, I mean, it's what is it, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and some guy is outside revving his truck or car engine. It doesn't happen that often. What's going on here? Mark sharp, not clear sharp. Alright, so now we have some windows blocked in. And also I'm going to go ahead and mark this door in as sharp edges. Yeah, like I said, you can't see them yet, so I'm going to yeah, I didn't actually get to see Eric's final image. I got to see some of the work in progresses, which looked really neat. The Texas of Canada. That's pretty good. Yeah, I've been to Canada a couple times. And what I've seen of it, well, I nothing against Canada, but what I've seen of it is very much like where I used to live in Michigan. You know, just sort of not hardcore hillbillies, but a lot of rednecks. Of course, I never went to any of the major cities, I think. I'm fairly proud of my redneck heritage, actually. Alright, well, let's see. Building this top of the hut. What is this? The wheel well here. And let's see. I need to cut this out. Alright. So I got the starting of that wheel well. I think I'm going to do what I had suggested earlier. I got to remove some detail now that I cut some in. I got to clean this up and make it look nicer and more manageable. And reduce the polygon count as well. So all those things happen when I clean this up. So that's starting to look cool. Wisconsin got cold, huh? Yeah, I kind of forget based on where we're at now. I forget that this time of year the weather can get kind of cool quite quickly in the Midwest. Although I know that Chicago in the last, you know, few years has been quite warm up until October even. So even, you know, generally warmer than it has been in the summertime. Oops. Alright, I'm gonna add in, I think I'm gonna do a little work here on the door. I'm going to, let's see, do an inset maybe. So I can do an inset and then adjust the height so that it bumps out a little bit. So I'm going to do that. Now we have the door starting to form here. And I want to give the door some roundness, which is going to mess up my model a little bit, but I'll fix it. Yeah, so I thought it's going to do some nasty stuff here. Alright, now doesn't look too good yet, so I'm going to have to do some hand modeling here. Alright. What I want to do is clean up some of this mess. Oh, killed the top of my wheel well. That's alright. Can someone tweet with a B3D tag about modeling on Twitter? B3D, as in Blender, B. I mentioned it in my tweet earlier, but I don't know if it really got picked up by anybody. Probably not. So I'm going to add in a cut for the side windows here. Oops, what do we got? So what I'm going to do is I want all these lines to be lined up on the horizontal, so I'm going to scale them to 0. So then I'm going to So I have about where I want my window to be, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and remove some more of these polygons. I don't think I need them. Actually. Maybe I'll leave that one there. And I'll get rid of these ones. Oh, I need to make my door window. Awesome. I got to use inset again. Inset, I think in Blender is relatively new, and it's one of my more favorite tools to use, which is kind of ridiculous, but and a lot of people who use other softwares are like, what, inset? How can you not have inset? Well, get around it. And I'm going to cut in the bevel by hand. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Alright, I'm going to add that bevel, but not by hand. There we go. Cool. Alright, let's go in here and I think I'm gonna, let's see, maybe make this a little bit wider. I'm gonna do me an inset. No, let's see, do I want to inset? Okay. Is there anybody in here who does any sort of 3D art at all? Anyone have any questions about anything that I'm doing? Any more comments on the weather? Supposedly it's going to be very nice here this weekend, which I think it's kind of been nice here on and off for quite a bit. I don't mind the heat that much. Like last night it was windy and hot, but it was beautiful. You hoping to get some 3D artwork done for your games, Mike? Miniatures, yeah. I'm going to put in a divider. Let's see. There's so many different ways you can do things in here. All I want to do is give this a little shape. I made it a little bit wider. Alright, cool. Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Technobabble. Hi. Do I use Blender's standard hotkeys? For the most part, yes. I do customize some of them on my own. I've always found Blender's hotkeys, a lot of them, to be better than Max and Maya's, and I've just been using them for so long. Some of Maya's hotkeys make my head want to explode. Same for Max's. Yeah. I think the only thing that is any good about Max and Maya's hotkey setup is the WASD, or the QWER setup for the transforms, which I could do or do without. I'm going to add a side detail here. I'm going to make like this side it's, I don't know what you call that, like a side bumper, I think that they are, maybe. Make this all the way around. So I'm going to bevel that, and I'm going to subdivide that. No, I'm going to do inset. Save, sure, why not? Inset faces. So the reason why I want to do inset rather than just subdivide is I want it to pop out. I want that pop out, and I can control that pretty good. So I'm going to pop that out, and then I'll grab these and collapse them there. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling like I don't want to have the auto smoothing on anymore, because it's more annoying than useful right now. Something happened with my collapse there. I don't really want this on the front anyways. So maybe I'll just end this here. Oh, I did it in the back too. Hello, Mr. Cecil. The boss is getting angry. Well, Pullbox Mike, it's funny that your kind of angle that you're taking about art, and I actually feel the same way when it comes to programming. At this point in my life, I realize the value of being able to program, especially for someone who wants to make games. And as much as I love making art, if I could do it over again, uh, I would want to learn how to program for the amount of freedom that it gives you for creating things in a digital world. Okay, I'll do a little bit of this grill here. Grill work. Well, inset, D-Man 3D, inset and bevel, I mean, I think that those used to be an issue. I'm not sure when the last time you used it, but Blender has got better bevels and insets. I don't know that they're perfect, but I've never really had it that big of a deal or that much of a problem with the tools anyways, but they're much better now. See, I need to make some cuts for the grill, and oh, I gotta put the brush cover on the front too, because that's just badass. I'm gonna go ahead and make a couple cuts. Move this along the normal. I don't know exactly where the term normal came from as far as 3D graphics is concerned. If you wonder what that or what it is in here, and actually there's more than one normal, but when I say move something along the normal, let me show you. The face has a direction, and it's the average. It's created by, I think, taking the planar direction of the face, and if I change one of the corners of the plane, you can see that the direction of the normal changes. And you can also show in here vertex normals as well. And, well, I don't know why it's not showing. Okay, there we go. Vertex normals. And I think those are created by averaging the direction of the intersecting lines. So anyways, I can use those to view kind of the direction that the face is facing. And it also shows you the outward direction of a polygon. So the insides of a model don't have that. And if I wanted to, I could turn off the backsides, so there's only showing as the outside normal face. And so you can see there's nothing on the inside. That's a more efficient way of drawing the models without showing the inside, because why do you need to see the inside of the van? Yeah, no, I actually I don't know why I don't ask, but Trinket Tom, if you're in here, you could I know that Sean's busy, but Trinket Tom, if you have a technical definition that you want to give to face normals, that would be awesome. I know I could look up on the internet too, but I keep wanting to put the A-Team theme music on, but then I always think about the crappy DMCA crap where you can't show your video because it's got some music associated with it that's not yours, so I don't want to bother. That's right, it has nothing to do with the A-Team. Oh my god, my speakers are echoing what I didn't realize that I was outputting my audio to my headphones. That's what I hear in the background. It's annoying me. I wonder if I can change that. How do I change that? Settings. How do I... What if I don't want... I guess I can just mute it. I don't want to mess with anything. Ding 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 do 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 yeah. Oh, I gotta put the air conditioning unit on the top. Gotta have the air conditioning unit. And I'm going to turn off normals because I don't need to see them. Darn it, Eric, don't report me, please. I think damn D-Man 3D, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can use the oh no, I guess you can't. See, I'm trying to remember like Max's bevel and inset. It's all in one tool, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, I guess. I suppose it would be nice if they were kind of unified, but whatever, you know. Ideal. Ideal. So what I did there is I just separated these faces out, and they don't actually need to be no, they don't need to be connected because we'll just never see the underside of that. I don't think, at least. So We're just gonna not put polygons there because we don't need to. Eric, you should ask Tom to give us his definition of face normal, not from the internets, because that's cheating. Well, maybe I can see the underside of that thing. At least for now, I'm gonna fill it up. I can't stand it. I can't take it. Well, I don't want you to tell me. So if you're gonna do it, you can write it down. But I'm looking for what is the origin of the use of the word normal, and exactly what the definition of it is in terms of face normal, not vertex normal, but face normal. You have to type it in the chat. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. That's Trinket Tom. That sounds pretty good. It's sort of. I feel like vector orthogonal is not very descriptive. I mean, I know what that means, but it doesn't really describe how you get that. I always kind of am annoyed by some of that. It's like a vector. Well, it's a unit length. It's one of those darn programmer terms. Darn it! Alright, I think we gotta have some little lights on the top here too. That's something that is a bug, I think, about Blender right now, and it's been there for too long. I move the cursor in one view and it moves it in another view, and that's not what you want. I want to be able to line it up, and it's stupid. It's like, oh, I'm moving it in the front. Oh, look, I'm moving it in the back. No. We don't do that. That's dumb. Dumb. One of the keys that I use a lot is the period key on the numpad. At least lately, I've been working like this more often, which is in the perspective view. I used to work only in orthogonal, but Blender has a sort of work in perspective mode kind of default thing, and I don't mind it. I've been trying to get used to it. But one thing it does is it doesn't do a very good job of keeping what you're working on in focus, and so sometimes it will get hard to maneuver around this scene. So and also, like, I want to be able to kind of rotate my view around this polygon, and so in order to do that, I just press the period key and we'll rotate around whatever I had selected. But in this particular case, I want to rotate around the light that I just made, and I'm going to copy that. Alright. Sweet. And my truck is It's got a good number of faces on it now. It's probably 3,400 faces. That's kind of getting up there. I probably need to be careful. It's all these little details I have in the doors and windows, which it's not a big deal. Our new systems can handle this much detail for sure, but I don't need it. Oops. What was that? Oh, Khan Academy. Face normal is the cross product. I don't understand that term. Cross product of two edge of a triangle, or something along those lines. Yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand what that means, but it seems it doesn't describe itself. You have to know what a cross product is. I guess if you're not an idiot, it's not a problem. And I fall squarely into the idiot category. Come on. Come on now. Come on now. Actually, I need to get into the Khan Academy stuff. I'm desperate to learn a little bit more about smart things. I'm actually going to take a Python programming course. I don't know how good it's going to be. It's a free course offered by Coursera. I think that's going to start next week or something, so I gotta look into that again. I imagine they're going to email me when it's going to start, but look out, programmers, artists with a keyboard, dangerous stuff. Interesting. That's not very, I don't like this too much. I'll fix that later. I won't bore you guys with me fiddling with that stupid thing. Alright, I'm going to make this crossbar in the front now, I think. Okay, how do I want to do that? I'm going to make it as a separate model. Sean, you do me a favor and get me some coffee in my coffee bucket. Probably like half more of what that is, or like to half of what the cup has got left in it. Half of the volume, and then warm it up for a minute. Thanks, dude. I only use my well, I don't say only, but most of the time, like right now, I'm using my Wacom pen for modeling. I got used to that a long time ago when I started getting really bad kind of carpal tunnel. D-Man 3D, where do you work at? I gotta focus on what I'm doing here. Okay, cursor to selected. Add me a cube. Zing. Copy me a modifier. Sean is the best around. A lack of coffee's not gonna keep me down. He's the best around. In my mouth, fool. Oh. Thank you, Dankeschöns. Yeah? Oh yeah. Greatest American hero. Oh, they'll wreck it. Oh, WMS. So another Chicago man, huh? Cool. Yeah. Well, Williams, they used to do arcade games and what am I wanting to do? Bridge. I like watching that tool happen, actually. I'm gonna go do it again. Bridge. Did this connect those faces together? Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's see now. Let's see now. Alright, let's keep this polygon count under control. You know what I've been really kind of getting the hankering to play? Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I've attempted that game like 3 times. I didn't ever get far, but it's so intriguing to me, and it's a neat game. I'm just like the terrible gamer, but yeah, I just have been wanting to start that one up. Not that I'm not working on like enough games at one time over, yeah. But that game is calling me. It's calling me. Does Flambeer stream all the time? I actually have been wanting to. I've actually really been wanting to just do like a lot of streaming. But I don't know. It hasn't happened obviously, but I'm hopefully I'm getting in the kind of the swing of it, and we'll feel comfortable streaming more of our stuff. It's always kind of hard when you're trying to make something that I guess you gotta wonder, you gotta think about who's actually watching your stream, but like it's one of our things is we are trying to make this sort of story that has a lot of kind of interesting hooks and surprises, and if you're showing a lot of that stuff when you're streaming, I mean, I don't really know much about the game. Nuclear, what did you call it? I know the game, and I'm being stupid by not knowing the name. Nuclear Throne. Sorry, I know the game, and I don't. From what I know of it, I don't know that it's like story driven, so there's not a lot to give away there, and So that's kind of always been our big concern. Yeah, thank you. D-Man 3D, I'm going to be on for a number of hours. I'm actually hoping to do UV mapping on here. I really think Blender's UV mapping tools are pretty boss. I'm going to do some UV mapping and probably try to get this whole thing done. I don't know. Not that fast at texturing, so I might not get all the way done with texturing, but I'll give it a good shot and then see where I get. But thanks for coming by. Do I know D-Man 3D? Do I know you from Chicago? Yes, techno babble. That's kind of what I was thinking. In building that fan base of people who are interested enough, I think is more important than keeping some small secrets. Well, anyways, it was good to meet you today, and I hope you have a good rest of your afternoon. Oh my God. There we go. All right. So one of the things that is beneficial for creating this brush guard the way I did is I can make a copy, a cloned copy. Whoops. And now that this guy is rotated, it's more difficult to do some work on it. So what I can do is I can have this duplicate copy and I can clear the rotations and it will be easier for me to do some work on it. So say if I had this at a more extreme angle, scaling things on the vertical axis would be more difficult to do. Let's see. Which is what I want to do with this piece here. I want to scale it on the vertical axis. And with this at an angle, it's difficult to do. So that's... Oh, bother. Rink, rink, rink. So how many of you guys played the PT demo that came out after Gamescom? I gotta know. Chris and I played it together, holding each other's hands. Technobabble, I can't wait till you get paid either. I'm just kidding. Well, not really kidding, but I being a little flippant there, I guess. My gosh, Trinket Eric and Trinket Tom, their Kickstarters launch next week. I think. Oh my god. It's craziness. Maybe they'll give us a shout out. Maybe they'll give us a shout out. Oh my god. Oh, it's the week after. Will we still be going though, right? Oh my god. Oh no, they're not gonna give us a shout out. They're not gonna give us a shout out. We need a shout out from those guys, man. It's stressing me out. Oh god. Blender does have a pelt mapping thing, but it's not physics based. I don't remember who has the physics based one. I only seen that one on one. I think it was like 3D Studio Max. I saw some people made a wonkety kind of like. I mean, I should say it looked kind of wonky. It looked kind of hacked together, like they were doing an unwrap using physics because that was what the tool that they kind of hacked to use it or to do it. But Blender has some. Blender has had unwrap tools like that for far longer than Max or Maya has. Yeah, they use a cloth system. I remember seeing it. It's cool, but I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, when I saw that, the only reason I was interested in it was because I was so sick of using 3D Studio Max's unwrap tools that I was like praying for something that was better, like more like Blender's. There's I don't know now that there are many more options in that arena, but oh, I don't like that. It's kind of ugly. What was I gonna say? But there was a few good plugins for Maya that basically used the code from Blender as a plugin, and that worked pretty well. And there was actually an external tool that allowed you to use the unwrap code that Blender had as well. I don't know if those are still in use, 'cause I haven't used Maya in years now. So okay, I think we're good with this thing. I think might need to work on it in a little later because I'm not entirely happy with it. It doesn't look that cool. I do need to make this big enough so we can see the headlights though. There we go. Okay. Cool. Trinket Tom would be super stoked to see that stuff. I've been dying to see your guys' video. I know that it's going to be over the top awesome. It is up. Oh, Chris has already seen it. God damn. Chris. Oh, you got the inside track with these guys. Kotaku article. Oh, God. Oh, that. Oh, yeah. Damn it. This infighting has got to stop. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Insider information. Oops. It's going to be a gorgeous slideshow. I guarantee ya. UV layout tool. Yeah, I don't know whether or not this is based on the old one that I used before or not. It looks like it, but I don't know. Basically, from what I can see about this, Blender's tools work the same way. Gesundheit, or has the same features. I'm not, I couldn't say by just looking at these, but the screenshots look like what I'm used to. I'll demo some of that in a little while. Where did my Twitch go? Oh, Eric's just a little... He's just being silly. He's always a little so modest, so modest. One hotkey that I need to change in Blender that I've been needing to change for years, and I'm just stupid and haven't done it, is the side view. I think I'm going to do it right now. Gosh darn it. So my side view hotkey, I never want to view it from the side that they have it set to. I always want to view it from viewing towards the positive x-axis, and that is opposite of what I want, or how they do it. So I'm going to go in here and modify 3D view, and 3D view generic. Let's see where we got it. 3D view. It should be numpad 3. Numpad 3. No, wait. View 3D view orbit numpad 3. Oh no. View numpad. This is the exciting part of the show, where I adjust my settings while you're all being very uncomfortable. Well, this is not what I thought it would look like, but that's okay. I just untick this and tick this. Now I save my user settings. And oh god, there we go. Why haven't I changed that in so long? Oh, Jesus. Alright. Let me try that again. Whew, that's nice. Whew, that's nice. Alright. And unhide my grill. Let's see, what else do I need to add? Oh, I'm going to put some... I think I'm going to put some little... No... I don't know if I need to add... Sometimes it's hard to decide whether or not you need to add some details in the model, or if you can just add them in the texture map. But I think I'm going to go and add something in here. That's what I thought. I'm going to add this kind of light spot here. Using my trusty knife tool. I'm going to sell this video as a training DVD when I get done. I'm just kidding. No one would pay for this kind of commentary. Well, maybe someone would. I should never say no one. I don't like that smoothing too much. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. That was for you, Sean. Let's see if this gets covered up by my grill. My grill, almost. I should start charging for this video stream. I got, you know, the singing. I should start dancing. I'll have be like the triple threat. The triple threat of modeling videos. That would be so awesome. I should change my name to Triple Threat. Triple Threat, starring Triple Threat. I would too. Anything for $1. Anything for a holla. I don't mean to threaten you guys like that. I don't mean to threaten you guys. I have such power as a streamer. I shouldn't use that power to threaten. I don't want to be that guy. Promise I won't sing or dance anymore. I'll only use my singing and dancing for good. Oh, God. I guess we're going to go to breweries this weekend. I'm kind of excited about that. Don't know what brewery, but doesn't really matter as long as they serve beer at this brewery. Oh, man. I guess that's what they do at breweries. That's what I hear, at least. I need to see a couple of pictures of the back of an RV. Oh, yeah, nice. Oh, there's a spare tire on there. I like that. Spare tire. Hadn't thought about the spare tire. I'm using Chris Cobb's patented mouth sound effects library. He's really only got one, but it's famous. I'm going to steal one of these boxes from here. tweet, tweet. Wing. Let's see. I don't know if anybody else was super blown away by the Kickstarter progress yesterday evening, but I certainly was. That was amazing. Just like, bam, out of nowhere. 2,500 bones! Dang! That's what I was like. Dang! Stack another $1,000 on that. Dang! That was awesome. That was awesome. Let's see here. Now, the reason I cut this stuff in here, I haven't been telling you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to put this stuff in here. I'm going to make this cool detail. Oops, I don't want these ones. Wing. So, get rid of some of these here polygons. Polygons. Oops. Oh, for the love of God. Thank you. Jeez whiz. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh my God, that's so badass. Look at that. Jeez, oh man, that's like what? Gotta add me my spare tires on the back. So, set my 3D cursor, enter in a cylinder, align it to view, adjust the radii, adjust the depth. I'm gonna go down to I gotta adjust the number of sides on it. Okay, let's do 10. It's gotta look nice-ish, roundish. 12. 12 looks good. All right, that's pretty good. Pretty good. All right. So, one trick that I use a lot is, so this in real life, the sides of this cover are most likely I don't know. I guess I don't know. I guess how you would say they're probably cylindrical. It's probably very cylindrical, but then it probably has this sort of bevel or rounded edges on the front and back. Like so. I mean, that's sort of probably how it really is. But since I don't want to use up that many polygons, what I usually do is I just add a slight scale on one side of it to sort of make it look a little bit more interesting than the straight up cylinder. And you get a little bit, the shading is a little bit more correct that way too. And I also want to make sure to go back behind here and delete this face because we don't need it. Looking fine, looking fine. Alright. I think I need to do some stuff with this jet engine here. Okay, oopsies. I don't think I want to do that yet. Okay, I like some of what it's doing there. Alright, so I want to take some of its suggestions and add them in. So I don't like what it's showing me here. I don't want this bumper to have a hard edge, I don't think. Sometimes I think that hard edge, it looks too video gamey or too low res. I don't like that, and so sometimes it's nice to leave an edge soft like that. It kind of gives it more of a beveled look without actually having a bevel. So I'm gonna not sharpen that edge, because I like that. The same with this this little edge bump out. I'm going to leave that soft too, as well as these. It just gives it more of a rounded look, and sometimes you want that more than I don't know. It's kind of hard because like this particular window detail, there in real life there would be a number of you've got a number of different layers of edging going around here. You've kind of got the gasket that seals the window from water that goes around. You've got like just the trim, and you've got the window itself. So you've got a couple of different layers of unique looking edges. So like this one in here might be black, this one might be silver or tan, and this one here might be silver. So in this particular case, I might actually want to have this as a hard edge. We'll see how it looks, but I think right now, I think we want to make that as a sharp edge, because I want it to show that as the metal, the difference between the metal and the rubber and the decoration. And I also want to make this separate a little bit. But I want this top of this scoop to be rounded, so I'm going to leave the smoothing there like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bevel on the front of this thing to make it look a little bit more sleek. And so I'm going to let's see, now I'm going to do my inset faces here and adjust the depth. Alright, that's kind of crappy, but it'll do. So I want that edge to be rounded, so I'm not going to put a crease on there. I think this will be a crease here, though. Another thing to remember about when you use creasing of edges or smoothing groups in any 3D application is that in the game engine, it will actually split the vertices and count them as multiple vertices. So, and it used to be more of an issue in the past, but it's still a problem where when the game engine has to transform a lot of vertices, you lose performance. So having a lot of smoothing groups isn't always the best thing to do, having a lot of hard edges. It's kind of one of those intuitive balances that you have to strike as an artist. And hopefully you don't get smacked around by your programmer. Ugh. Doesn't like this polygon here. The other thing is you kind of have to look at the opportunities to use polygons when you have to add them in to use them for other things. Like I had to kind of add this vert here to connect the scoop to the roof, but you know I can maybe drop this down here in the back and it will give me more of a rounded edge. This polygon here will give me a bit more of a rounded edge on the top of the RV, and maybe I'll extend it here. We'll see. And just drop this edge down a little bit here, and you kind of get more of a nice smooth transition to the roof, which looks good, I think. Okay. There's also on the original reference, actually both the van and the Winnebago have like these horizontal details, and that would be a good use for these edges, is just to mark them sharp. And like I mentioned before, if you just